One of the great industrial breakthroughs of the last century was the discovery of the Canadian oil sands. Stephen Bechtel, Howard Pugh, 1964. They are in Fort McMurray in Canada. And they're discovering the great Canadian oil sands so that North America can be independent of Saudi oil, or even Nigeria and other Venezuela. But the oil sands, 1964. I didn't realize this was so freaking long ago. 1947, they had already established offshore drilling capacity in the Gulf of Mexico. You can even go back to the 1920s. Carl Clark out of the University of Alberta had already taken the lead on researching these oil sands. You boil the oil from the soil, and the resulting tar you distribute as fuel. And in 1935, they established the Abasand Oils Corporation. And at the time, the concentration of policy in Canada and U.S. was the World Wars. So this is the 1930s, and they're worried Hitler will get these resources before they do. So 1956, you have the Suez Canal crisis, reduced the flow of oil coming out of the Middle East. And so there was a huge impetus to find and exploit these, quote, local resources in North America. So even Eisenhower got involved. 1959, he was pressured by Senators Robert Kerr, Lyndon Johnson, as well as the independent oil industry. This is, Texas oil. And so they put a quota on imports, basically, protectionism. And they increased their Canadian oil sources from 5% to like 12% from 1958 to 1962. 67, Canada represented like 20% of the U.S. market compared to only 8% from the Middle East. So already in 1967, we're doing what we saw, a couple years ago with this imposition of, tariffs. Project Cauldron, just take a guess what this is. It was literally an initiative to bomb the oil out of the earth. So because of the tar sands being, high viscosity, just fucking thick molasses, if they heat it up, they can extract it. So this geologist out of Richfield Oil Corporation, 1958, proposes an underground nuclear explosion to reduce the viscosity. So it's interesting. Back in the 50s, Eisenhower is being asked by the smaller mom and pop oil out of Texas to protect their market and impose quotas on foreign imports, mainly from Arabian princes. And what's interesting is that Eisenhower is getting a little bit uneasy with this kind of handout to oil. And so the oil lobbyists are thinking, well, now we're going to support the 1956 Democratic ticket.